Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to be taking a look at XLM. I'm also going to be taking a peek at Theta and Bitcoin, also maybe XRP, checking out the market and seeing what it's doing. I'm going to start off with XLM because I'm seeing something interesting here. And by the way, when I look at an asset like an altcoin, it goes the same with most altcoins, right? Most of the altcoins are all correlated with each other. So if I look at a particular asset, usually that asset is correlated with the other its other brothers and sisters, right? They're not completely correlated, but as far as percentage terms, they can be different. But as far as the trends and the macro look, they're pretty well similar. So looking at XLM, what's good for XLM is good for any other coin, right? So basically, zooming out here, I see two options. I'm going to give you the ultimate bull and the ultimate bear. So basically, starting at the very beginning, there was our foundation. We had a breakout, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be wave 1. So this is the bear count, right? So this would be A, B, and then C. So there would be wave A, B, and C. So C isn't finished yet. So when would C be finished? When we get 5 waves. Let's see if we have 5 waves. 1, 2, all of this is 3. We're in the middle of 4, and then we're going to get wave 5. So that would be the bearish way to look at it. But it actually would be incredibly bullish when you look at it from the macro structure. I mean, just looking at this little tiny wave here, that circle in the grand scheme of things is absolutely nothing when you look at the macro, which would be more upside. So, so that would be the bearish look. The bullish look is, which I think is happening until proven otherwise, right? You're allowed to change your mind if certain supports are broken. But until then, you have to treat it as if it's bullish. And it is at the moment. So we have to just wait and see if we get more continuation, which I believe we will. And I'm going to show you why. So the bullish look to this would be this resistance point up here. So to me, most coins, right? This is a fact. Most coins, they went up in their 2017 high. They came down in their bear market, and then they broke out, right? XLM did not break out, and I'm going to tell you why that's bullish when everybody thought it's bearish. So, for example, Bitcoin broke out, it made a top, it came down, right? And then it sort of did this, and it's bear market, and now it's sort of up here. It's a sloppy drawing, but you get the idea. Bitcoin is hanging out up here, XLM's hanging down here. So which one would I rather buy, right? Would I want to buy one that's already completed its prior cycle? Or do I want to buy one that hasn't yet went into its third wave, let alone break above its previous 2017 top? So, you know what I mean? Of course, Bitcoin is a bad example because Bitcoin leads the way, right? So whatever Bitcoin does, the rest of the market does. But if we're doing a higher retracement for Bitcoin, this would give a good shot at XLM, XRP coins that haven't broke this this top here to perform and go into price discovery, right? That's why I'm heavily positioned in XRP and also a little bit in XLM because of that reason. Because we didn't break a new all-time high. So, for example, Here's your first base, right? And what did that lead to? It led to a massive breakout, right? So now we're in our second base, which is even bigger. And what do you think that's going to lead to? Right? What do you think that's going to lead to? Obviously, we're in a range, right? So we can come down and tag the bottom of the range before going higher. That's totally possible. But to me, I don't think that's going to happen, and I'll show you why when we start to zoom in. But just looking at it, right, from the perspective of before, in this area down in here, the first base, right, we had a rise. I can't really, it's hard to do it because we're zoomed out, but basically we had a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off, right? So same thing going on here. We have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, rounded bottom. We have a rounded bottom in here, and it's still holding pretty strong. So, and also we have a cup, a rounded cup, and another rounded handle bottom, right? So we're at the bottom basically of the handle, and we're starting to curl on up. So this looks to me like this, but just much bigger, right? So what would the target be for that? This is on log scale. You can do it on linear scale. This would be the more liberal approach, but basically ballpark, I don't think it's going to get that high, but $20 definitely possible, but not really likely. If I put this on linear scale, you'll see why. So linear scale, I'm going to adjust it a little bit. That's about $1.57. So, you know, that's a big difference, right? From log scale to linear scale on measuring just a simple cup and handle. So that's why we do Fibonacci, and the Fibonacci would be, so Fibonacci looking at between $3.80 to $4. So that to me is a reasonable target, definitely doable. If you look at Ethereum, if you look at Bitcoin, if you look at a lot of other assets, they all hit their full 4.236 Fibonacci extension. I mean, if you look at Dogecoin, it went way higher than its 4.236. So definitely, if a meme coin can do it, why not a real utility asset? The other areas, the other targets would be $1.50 to $1.60, and then $2.42. So target one, $1.50. Target two, say $2.42. Target three, almost $4. So now those are the targets, but that's still a ways down the road. Let's even figure out if it's possible to get to those targets. And I think it is, because when you zoom in here on the daily chart, well, first, real quick on the weekly chart, I just want to talk about this here. This was the pivot, right? This was the pivot to our C19 low. And notice here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 points of resistance. We finally break out of the resistance, we back test the resistance, and then we continue on into our miniature bull run. Remember, XRP XLM did not have a bull run because it did not go into price discovery, because it did not break into a new all-time high, and that is the reason why I've been accumulating this asset because of that very reason and other utility reasons as well. But yeah, it's got, when you look at the risk to reward, it's so much higher than a lot of other coins. Not picking out any names, because each name is got a, different data, different things, but just talking about XRP XLM in general compared to the market as a whole, I think it's got a lot more upside potential because it didn't go on a bull run. It basically went sideways for the last several years. So you have 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So it's been going sideways for 6 years. It's been in a bear market for 6 years. Now, a lot of people can say, well, that's bearish. And it's true. It's true at the time. So right here, all the coins most of the coins went into a new all-time high, right? XRP, XLM stopped. And so do a few others. I think EOS, Zcash, a few others, right? Not to say that they're in the same bullish position as this one, because a lot of them, like I think EOS broke below its C19 low, which is not really good. But as far as XRP, XLM, we, at the time, yes, it was bearish because most coins broke out, but the XRP, XLM did not break out. Instead, it stopped right at its previous top, which basically had a double top, right? So 1, 2. Now look down here. Look what happened down here. 1, 2, 3, and then we broke out. So far we have 1, 2. Are we coming up for 3 to make it a triple top? Just like down on the bottom of the C19 low on that pivot. So right here. So you have 1, 2, 3, right? Just like right here. So I don't know. We'll have to see. This is just all my, speculation, opinion. This is not financial advice. I have no idea if this is going to be right or wrong. I'm just basing it off what I see and my giving you my perspective. So looking at it right now, these 3 points, right? What's bullish to me, this is why I'm bullish. When we broke out, we met the resistance, but then when we pulled back, notice how we impulsed up and we're correcting down. Look at the time it took to get from here to here. And now look at the time it took to get from here to here. It took a lot longer, way more candles, meaning it's more corrective, right? A lot more corrective. But look what happened. We broke this major resistance right here between, what is that, 7, 8, 9 cents area. So between 7 and 8 cents, we broke out, we pulled back, and here's the big point: we back tested it. That is the major thing. That's why I'm bullish right here. Is we back tested this area, and we held it as support. And not only that, we back tested it, but we also formed a very bullish pattern, and that is this pattern right here. So I'm going to zoom in. Let's go to the 3-day chart. A falling wedge, which, by the way, we broke out. So this now is starting to look more clear, right? So again, we had this 1, 2, 3 points, right? We broke out, we back tested. We came and we hit that 2017, 2018 resistance. Then we had a corrective bullish falling wedge, which allowed us to back test this whole area. To me, that's bullish. The more bullish thing is we broke out of the falling wedge. So zooming in a little bit to, let's go to the daily chart. You can see right here, we broke out and then we back tested the top of the falling wedge. We pumped up right into all this resistance. We came back down, we back tested it again, that support box, and then we had our first impulse to the upside. So we broke out of this range. So this yellow box is our range, our bottoming formation. We broke out of the bottoming formation. We came back down and we back tested the bottoming formation. We impulsed off the bottoming formation, off that resistance, which is our new support, right? We back tested it, confirming new support. And now what are we doing? We're pulling back. So I don't know. That to me is a recipe for more bullish price action. Just look at it, right? This is a correction, right? We're correcting to the downside, but then look how it flattens out in here. It flattens out. So we're trending down, we're flattening out, and now we're starting to curve to the upside. So this is a curve, right? We're curving. And that's the handle that we're talking about in the much larger picture. When you look at the cup and handle pattern, right? So there's our handle. This is our cup. Here's our handle, right? So let's go. Let's go. Let's break this thing out. So what else is happening? What else is happening in here? Well, something else that I really like is when I zoom in here. So for me right now, as long as we're above that yellow box, that support area, I think we're very bullish, right? And I'm going to get into the other charts as well to show you. We're going to touch back on what was discussed in the previous videos, but check this out. So what is that right there? You see it? So we had this impulse to the upside, and it's the same thing, but on a smaller scale, right? Impulse, corrective. We have this bottoming formation, and now we're starting to curve out of it. But what can you see in it, right? Boom, boom, boom. Inverse head and shoulders on the back test zone. That to me is bullish. So it's creating, I mean, it looks very clear as day. This is your left shoulder. Here's your head that back tested the support. And now here is, we're creating the right shoulder of the head and shoulder, of the inverse head and shoulders. And that's what I talked about on theta as well. I said, let's pull back 50% of this wave right here. Not pull back 50%. I'm talking about this wave. So if you take this wave and cut it in half, let's pull back to that 50% mark of this wave right in here. So if you take this wave, you cut it in half, it's about right there. And that's exactly what happened. But for XLM, we're not quite there yet. We're theta. That might come later, or it might not come at all. It might be so bullish that we don't need a 50% of that pullback. So, and remember, when I say 50%, I don't mean a 50% drop. I'm talking about a 50% pullback of this wave, right? So here's your left shoulder, here's your head, and here's your right shoulder. So boom. Now, it's not totally confirmed yet, right? It's not, we're still in the development of this right shoulder. What we want to see happen, maybe pull back a little more, start rounding out, and start coming back up to that 13.5 cent mark. So here's resistance. Let's come up here and meet that resistance. If we break this resistance and we start challenging these Fibonacci levels, so let's do that right now. Let's pull a fib. We'll take it from the top all the way down to the bottom. That would take us up to that 382 mark, right? And we're still not out of the woods. But what we really want to see is to get above 15 through 17 cents. So if we get through that, it's going to be interesting, very interesting, bullish development. So there you go. I mean, that's basically XLM in a nutshell, right? Like I've said, we had this beautiful downward resistance line, right? Which also was this falling wedge, right? We broke out of the falling wedge. And here's where it gets even more interesting, right? So let me zoom in a little bit, take everything off. So to me, it could be potentially that this is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That could be very bullish, right? A 1, 2, 1, 2 is very bullish, right? So normally, like for example, when talking about Elliott wave, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody knows that, right? But what could happen in that is you can have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And basically, when you have a nest of 1, 2, 1, 2s, it could be extremely bullish or extremely bearish. So, for example, if we're going like this 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, then it could be very bearish for the downside. But in this case, it's bullish because we are 1, 2ing to the upside. So for example, if we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, then we're going to get a 4, 5, 4, 5, right? So if this is 1, 2, 1, 2, and this is the beginning of the third wave, right? So this is 1, 2. Now we're in the third of the third. So, and then we pull down for 4, 5, 4, 5. So that's kind of how it would look, right? And that whole thing would be wave 1 out of this area. So zooming out a little bit. So, and it's not going to be the way I draw it. It's just giving you an example. So you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? That's the start off. And now we're in the third wave. So this is wave 1 of 3, wave 2 of 3, wave 3 of 3, wave 4 of 3, wave 5 of 3. Right? So that would finish the third wave. This giving you an example, right? So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go up for 5, and then we have another 4, 5. And that whole thing, right, taking all that off so you can see it better, would basically just be one big, that would be wave 1. All that would be 3, 4, 5, and then maybe 4, 5. So right now we're in the middle of wave 3. If this is going to play out, right? So it's not going to go in a straight line. See how it's going straight up? It's not going to do that. It's going to take its time. It's probably going to, it always takes longer than you anticipate. Always, right? It always takes longer than people think. So, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe pull back a little bit. 3, ABC. Might be like that. Not going to be, but also we have to remember, when we break resistance, that's when we really start to impulse. So if we break that box between 43 and 92, it gets very impulsive. But until then, it's going to be very corrective. A lot of sharp moves to the upside, sharp moves back down, consolidation, sideways, right? Until we break this, it's going to be choppy, So basically, that's about it. So what now, right? So now that we just covered everything, what can we expect in the short term? What should we look out for? Well, basically, looking at the 12-hour chart, we want to hold above. We want to hold above this line in here. So this line right in here, we want to hold above that 10-cent area. Definitely don't want to break that. So as long as we can hold above this, we're still looking good for that 1-2-1-2 bullish setup. So basically, we have, zooming in further, we have this pump to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? We have a pump to the upside, and it's impulsing to the upside. And look what it's doing now. It's correcting to the downside. So that to me looks like a flagpole and a flag. So this can come down a little further, right? It can come down a little further. But basically what we want to see here is this corrective move break out and go. That's what we want to see. And that would develop that right shoulder just like the left shoulder, the head, and let's go. And to me, that looks extremely bullish. Now, as long as Bitcoin stays healthy, and we'll get into that, there's your resistance. So we want to break above that 13-cent mark, and that would be incredibly bullish for XLM. So bearishly, if you're a bear, you basically just want to break this low. So, but I don't. To me, doesn't look like that's going to happen. I could be wrong, but look at this. Zooming in here, you can see how corrective it is. If I just pull up a channel here, watch this. It kind of broke out. Maybe a little false breakout there. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we had that 7 waves to the downside. Now, if you don't know what 7 waves are, you can look at BCB's YouTube channel. He talks about the 7-wave bottoming structure. Now, this isn't a textbook bottoming structure, but it's a corrective structure, right? And to me, it could be like a diagonal, right? So a corrective diag where all the waves, basically all you got to know is they're all overlapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're all overlapping each other. When you have overlaps, that's corrective, right? So if I flip it upside down, doesn't that look bearish? Because you're basically, the chart is upside down and you're overlapping to the downside, right, which is the upside. So basically, we just gotta watch that trend line. Let's see if we can get a break. A target for this would be, if I pull that there, I'll pull that up to there. I'll pull this down here. I want to see 15 cents get challenged. Basically that 1-to-1 extension right up in here. So let's see if we get that. So for XRP, basically same story as XLM, just a little different, right? We can see this triangle, bullish triangle, just like this triangle here. Same type of deal, right? Where you had a pump. You have a crash, you have a crash. You have a retracement, you have a retracement. You have a reaccumulation, you have a reaccumulation. Then you have a sideways accumulation. What do we have here? Sideways accumulation / consolidation. What comes next? A big breakout. What comes next? Hopefully, not financial advice, hopefully a big breakout, We're getting near to the apex of the triangle. So basically, in a nutshell, that's what we got here. Not going to spend too much time on it because, same thing with XLM. I wanted to give XLM a little more time since I hasn't really covered that one. But basically, this is the level I'm watching, which is 54 cents, right? You can see this sort of ascending triangle type of thing going on here, which, by the way, is bullish. Right. Also, I forgot to mention in XLM, the Wyckoff accumulation, right? We have the spring phase, we broke out, and now we're sort of consolidating at the top of the range. Hopefully, we're going to get that next move to the upside. So for XRP, just real quick, this is our impulse. This is our correction, and now we're looking for another impulse. Or we have a retracement. We come back down and we back test the top of this area. So look at this. We have resistance, resistance, resistance. This right here is an anomaly. Don't pay attention to that. It was a news-driven event. It kind of messed up the chart, but it is what it is. It's there. So if it wasn't there, we would have resistance, 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 resistance. We come down, we tighten into this area here. Another Wyckoff accumulation on the smaller time frame. We break out, right? Here's our foundation. We break out. Here's our flagpole, right? And then we actually go to... There we go. So basically, looking at this, right, we broke above the resistance right here. Boom, right? And now we could potentially come down and obviously back test it. But right now, it looks pretty correct. It looks like it's forming some type of bull flag again, right? So anytime you have, I've said this before, an impulse to the upside, see how the trajectory is impulsive, and then the counter move is corrective. That often leads to a breakout, right? This is just a pullback, right? So everybody's getting bearish. Oh no, it's over, and but what it's doing is basically what I said in previous videos is here's the wave. Same thing for Theta. Same thing for all the other coins I looked at. Here's the wave right here. They all have this big wave. And I basically said, take the wave, cut it in half, and that's probably where we're going. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened with XRP. We had these corrective waves. I mean, look how corrective it looks here. Take that off real quick. You can see 1, 2, all overlapping. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All these waves. That's 9 corrective waves to the downside. So it's basically just creating, right, this bullish descending channel, this base right here, or you can call it a bull flag, whatever you want to call it, right? So you can see bullish move up, correct down 50% of this entire move, hold support, and then hopefully we can start breaking out. And basically that's it, right? Obviously we can come further and back test the breakout area in this green zone in here and then continue higher. What we don't want to see is candles closing in here and especially below here. Then we'd have to change everything and look at it differently. But until then, this looks like a flagpole and a bull flag. So, yeah, it looks bullish to me. And also, another big thing we have to do is retrace this move that should have never happened. So we made it to the 618. I really want to see us break above the 786 and the 702. So if we can get above 79 cents, then man, it's going to really set us up for a dollar plus. I'm going to be looking at $1.15 to $1.30. So this area in here would be the next area to start looking at a pivot or a direction change. But basically, that's it. So let's see if we can get through there. And then real quick, just on the bigger time frame, looking at this as a triangle, as an Elliott wave triangle. Let me go to the 5-day chart. Right? So the triangle would be A, B, C, D, and now we're in the middle of E, which means we have one more wave to the downside, a big wave to the downside, a wave that could take us, below 40 cents. So because every wave needs 3 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,